Welcome to Talking Heads on USA Global TV, starring the one and only wonderful Dr. JACALYN. It's a prestigious place where world-class influencers and experts meet, and where you'll find the most trusted advisors and coaches for all things in life and business. Visit usaglobaltv.com to sign up for our newsletter, get the value you need, and be first in line to learn about events and giveaways and other valuable content. Connect with us. Email Dr. JACALYN at usaglobaltv.com to talk about how you can become part of USA Global TV. That's USA Global TV, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, everyone, and welcome, or maybe it's welcome back to USA Global TV and Radio. We thank each and every one of you, our global audience. We now currently have 28 live broadcasts each week. If you'd like to be a guest on any of our shows, please go over to usaglobaltv.com and book your session. Today's show is What's Trending with CATHY Fulton. And if you missed our show right before this, Aging Gracefully with Humor, you must see it. There's something for everyone there, as we are all getting older and having some ideas about what that might be like. And I think you'll be very surprised about what it can be like. So please go over to our YouTube channel, USA Global TV, and subscribe. Let's welcome CATHY to the show. CATHY is a co-host here currently on two of our shows. She's also one of our expert presenters on Talking Heads, which comes up right after this show. She's also one of our panelists on A Woman's Prerogative, and she's a certified elevated listener here on our platform. But she's got an entire life outside of this. Let's bring her on and find out what's going on with her, and then we'll bring out our guest. Welcome, CATHY.
Hey, good morning. You always do this great introduction, and I'm almost impressed with myself.
You should be. You've accomplished so much.
Wow, I always go, wow, who is this person? I'd like to get to know her.
And I want our audience to know that you were a guest on one of our shows, and you and I connected and reached out, and now look at all that's taken place, and it's only been in a few months.
I know. Well, let me tell you what, you are a driving force, and what you have done with this platform is amazing. And I got to tell you, every time I hear the intro music and the, I don't know what they call that, just
the intro.
Yeah, the intro. How about that? The intro. I love it. It's very uplifting, and I'm always just drawn to it. I never take my eyes off of it. So, I mean, there's just so many things. Well, no, I'm serious. There are so many things that I could compliment you about, but that's the one that I'll go with today. So anyway, it's fun to be here.
I really appreciate that. I'll just share one quick thing. Last night I was thinking about how I started, which was with Rapping with Dr. JACALYN. It was one show on another channel, and I decided to bring it back. So now we have a show called Rapping with Dr. JACALYN. It's a show about nothing. So we will be, people could just book in and we'll just sit and have a chat like we're in a living room. There's no topic per se. It's just two people having a conversation. So I'm excited about that. But I'm also excited about what's trending. And you have great vision, experience, and insights in many industries. Tell our audience about your work, how you help other people.
Well, so let's see. I like you said, I own many or a couple of different businesses. But one of my primary focuses has been on interior design. And I started my own interior design firm 22 years ago. And really my mission, my goal with every client is that we create a space for them that they love to live in, because I have encountered so many do-it-yourselfers over the years where it's like by the time they get to me, they are suffering from serious buyer's remorse because they watched, all due respect, perhaps a show on HGTV, and they make it look, lickety split, easy peasy. And they go out and spend all this money, and it arrives and they have no idea what to do with it. And it's a train wreck, but it's also a financial train wreck, because then when they get to me, they're like, yeah, we don't like any of this stuff. None of it goes together. And so anyway, if you are one of those that, you've tried doing it yourself and it was a massive failure, call me. I will love to help you correct it.
I love it. And CATHY, while I have you up here, what will you be speaking on today on Talking Heads?
Bathroom sinks. Who knew that the bathroom sink could be a major focal point and really elevate your space? So tune in.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Well, you brought another fabulous guest backstage, and just in the short amount of time that we had to speak with him, I thought, oh my gosh, this has got to be 15 shows, because everything that he's accomplished and all the things that he can help educate our audience on are not going to be possible in this 40-minute window. So tell us how you met Mac. He goes by the name Mac, and we'll do more of a formal introduction, but how do you know him?
So we have a mutual friend, and I always butcher his last name because it's a mouthful. Mark McClatchy. Did I maybe get it right? But anyway, and Mark is the consummate connector, and he is such a great guy and a great friend. And he'll email me and he'll be like, "Hey, I think I've got somebody great for your show." And every time, I mean, it's like, yep, check 1,000%. This person would be fantastic. And when I'm talking to them, I mean, sometimes it's kind of like I don't know, like a mini show. It's like, I don't want to hang up, or I don't want to get off the Zoom call with them because they're fascinating. And today's guest, Mac, is, I mean, just like you. I mean, I was sitting backstage going, I want to book him on another show before we even get started with this show, because I mean, he's going to be talking about like Bitcoin and cybersecurity and just, so I can't wait to bring him out and get started.
All right, fantastic. And I am obsessed with technology, and I'm also interested in passive income and hearing more about blockchain and NFTs. So without further ado, we have an amazing guest, as I'm sure you're in the edge of your seat. Who is this? He is the CEO and founder of MacGuyverTech, and he has accomplished so much. Let's bring him out. He goes by Mac, but we also see Mac Nerd. So let's bring out Stephen Mac Nerd McKing. Nice to see you.
It's a pleasure to meet everybody here, and thank you for the warm introduction. Yeah, and the Mac Nerd is actually a nickname my friends would call me, Mac Nerd, and it's something funny. And they said, hey, just put it in there. And the reason, actually, I think it has more merit and weight now is if you see behind me, that's actually the Mac Nerd logo, and we're going to be rebranding MacGyver Media into Mac Nerd Enterprises in a short little bit. And the reason for that is because we're making blockchain tokens, cryptocurrencies, and NFTs, and that name and brand is more aligned for what we do. MacGuyverTech is still going to be a brand and still going to keep going, but we're just dividing the company into two. One's going to have a focus on more of the cooler, funner NFT stuff, and the other one will do the traditional software development we've been doing for over 10 years. So kind of exciting, really, really awesome space. It's up and down. I know a lot of people might hear all different stuff. There's a lot of misinformation about that, but this is a really great technology that's going to make the world a better place in a lot of different ways. So I'm really excited about it. So I don't know. Does anybody have any questions?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd love to hear some questions, please.
So I'm really interested in your background because you're so passionate about what you do, and you do so many different things. So can you just share with our audience a little bit about your backstory?
Sure. All right. So I guess it starts as a kid. As a toddler, I took apart everything, and it never stopped. I went through grew up, and I just basically made a living out of it. My mom tells me this famous story that when I was a toddler, I took apart my crib with my thumb and it collapsed in on me. And I just never stopped taking anything apart. I took apart video games, anything electronic. I had extra parts everywhere as a kid. But as I got older, that, I guess, reverse engineering really played a big part of my life. And I wound up working in the software industry. I went to Rowan University, went for computer science. And then I worked in the software IT world for 25 years, doing R&D and prototyping and doing hard problems that others couldn't solve. So I always liked those challenging kind of situations. And to me, when, I don't know, about 8 years ago, I got introduced to the cryptocurrency and Bitcoin stuff. And at the time, my friend who also owned another company, in a mortgage company, is like, hey, China just banned Bitcoin. You want to get in? I was like, you're absolutely crazy. What are you talking about? So I just looked into it. It's like, all right, let's see what we can do. And I went up buying one of those miners. A miner is a machine that can facilitate the blockchain. And it's basically a highly specialized computer that can basically churn away a lot of information at a high rate of speed that can facilitate the blockchain. But for running those, you get rewarded. The trick is you want to basically spend less electricity than you actually make out of it. And that could be a moving target depending on the hardware and stuff. But when I got one of those machines, I bought it on eBay for a premium just to see if it was doable. And I mean, they're probably were like $8,000 for one machine. So I bought it. I took it apart. It's like, oh, this is doable. Next thing you know, I bought probably, I don't know, $600,000 worth of equipment from the manufacturer in Hong Kong. And then I set up a mining center and started going commando with it. And ever since then, I've been fully involved in the blockchain space. So now, and I don't know, fast forward a few years later, we've really accelerated the software aspect of that, which I believe is the future. The hardware is okay. It's just like infrastructure for IT. The software is really where it's at in most of the technology world. So that's where we're gravitating towards, hence the name MacGyver Nerd or Mac Nerd. And we're just really, really excited about that. We've launched probably like 8 projects in the last 6 months. Anything from tokens that you can buy and sell, make money on, to NFTs, which you guys might have heard of. NFTs is a non-fungible token. It's another form of a cryptocurrency, but instead of, you can't really trade an NFT for another NFT. An NFT is more like a one of one, and they can have a lot of value, and that's subjective to the market. But just keep in mind, there's some NFTs that are selling for more than Mona Lisas. $10-20 million each for a little JPEG that's an NFT. It's absolutely astounding. So, but what's really the value in that technology, and I don't think people realize, is not the NFT image. It's actually the NFT technology that really makes it valuable. It's actually a locking system that it's almost like a safe that only one person can have the key to it, to can unlock it and can do anything with it. That's why they call it cryptocurrency. The reason it's cryptocurrency, it's using cryptography at the highest level. So it's really secure, and that's another reason why I kind of gravitate towards it, because I'm an ethical hacker, and security is always top of mind. So it just has those natural kind of things that I like. It's highly secure, it's really transparent, it's fast, and I believe it's the future. Really, I think, I've kind of put it in perspective. We're in the Web 2.0 world right now with the Facebooks and Googles. This is Web 3.0, which is just the next evolution of the internet. So I know it's a lot of information. I'm sure there's a lot of questions going to be spawned from that. So I'd love to hear what you think.
Okay, so I'll go first. Yes, I have a zillion questions. So for people
Sure.
who they want to work with you, you do so much. If they think to themselves, "Oh, I'm interested in blockchain," or "I'm interested in NFTs," how do you partner with them?
Well, you might say we do a whole lot, but our focus is really laser focused. As our company's grown, we've gone from like taking all kinds of software jobs. We're a custom software development shop. We have over 20 developers here now and growing. But we tend to take on projects that are long term. Sometimes they might take 6 months to 8 months to build on a project. This in the traditional software world. But when you go over to the blockchain stuff, there's really not, from the smart contract side, there's really not a whole lot of difference between the contract for the NFT development compared to a token, compared to a DAO or decentralized autonomous organization is a no thing that happens on a blockchain. They're all the same type of development. So you might think we do a lot, but they're all related. They're all in the core competency of the blockchain. So it's just kind of really focusing on the blockchain aspect of things, and this traditional software development are really our kind of two pillars here. I mean, it might sound like we're doing a lot just because we have the security side, but we're just making sure we deliver high-end secure software that nobody can get into too easily. And we're just very thoughtful about that. And we also make sure we're looking down the road a little further, not just making sure it's secure for today, but how about 6 months or a year down the line? And that's always a constant, persistent threat where we have to continuously keep moving that line and continuously keep doing scans and then update the software to harden it. So it's kind of, I think they all kind of marry together. I know it sounds like we do a lot there, but it's not. Like our real kind of focus is in that space. So if anybody's really interested in anything to do with that blockchain space, I'm a publicly known well figure. I have hundreds of thousands of followers on social media and Twitter alone. I'm known in this space. I provide a lot of transparency. I'm trying to also educate because I believe this is a really fair and great thing for humanity. It's an unbelievable money system. To put it in perspective, I can send money no matter what the amount anywhere in the world, and it can settle at worst 10 to 15 minutes, best maybe 30 seconds. It doesn't even matter if it's millions or billions of dollars. and I can settle that anywhere. So there's not a money system in the world that can do that, that can compete with that scale. And keep in mind, people think Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies is a thing. It's not really a thing. It's a network. Bitcoin is the largest distributed computer network in the world. Actually, it's larger than Verizon, AT&T, and Google and Microsoft combined. It's the largest computer system in the world. It's also borderline self-aware, meaning like if you start to try to hack the Bitcoin network or some of these cryptocurrency networks, they're going to just cut you off and they won't allow you to connect to the network. It's pretty astounding. It's a really big leap in technology. The best way to put it as blockchain and cryptocurrencies is not like a new fad or technology, like a new Word or a Photoshop. It's like equated to like a new electricity. It's like before and after. It's like, when we had electricity and when we didn't have electricity. It's that profound of a change. And it's really, honestly, the next evolution of the internet. And it's actually the internet of value as opposed to information. So I hope that helps.
That helps a lot. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Kathy?
Sure.
So, okay, look now, and not to get political, so I'll just preface it with that.
That's okay.
But okay, from my point of view, it just seems like whenever there's something good out there, the government always wants to get involved. And I mean, so this is a currency, and we have our dollar bills, right? We have the Federal Reserve. So what do you foresee, or what are you seeing, or are you seeing anything in terms of the government inching in and wanting to, I don't know, control it, for lack of a better word, or get involved, or get their pound of whatever? I mean,
you got a very, very good point. And before cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin, the government would absolutely have control of everything and force their will on stuff, especially something you got to understand. This is not like any other technology. This is money. And the government is incentivized by controlling the money. All governments are. Yeah. The problem is our governments are really, really, I would say, incompetent when it comes to fiscal policies. And the inflation that we're experiencing now is not going to stop for another 40 years, because America alone printed 40% of the entire money supply in the last few years. There's a price to pay to that. And on top of that, the Fed is a privately owned company that basically works for the government. They can do whatever they want. They're actually in hot water now for their policies, what they did a few years ago, and now we're paying the price for it. Here's the thing, is like Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies is a hedge against all that. These are fair and transparent money systems. And the government's, to be clear, Bitcoin is the first blockchain. So that's been around about 13 and a half years now. When it first started, so I've been involved in the cryptocurrency for about half of that, about 8 years. I've seen, when I got into it, China banned Bitcoin. A couple years earlier, the US banned Bitcoin. Every government in the world has banned cryptocurrencies. It's a cycle. They ban it first, then they realize they can't stop it. They're like, oh, it's not so bad. So let's embrace it. Let's see if we can tax it. It's like a whole cycle. You see it play over and over again on a world scale. And since I've been involved in it and kind of separate from this, the US economy, and looking at the world economy and seeing how these things play out, it's actually pretty astounding to see what's happening. To keep in mind, like, there is the point of return. It probably was about 4 or 5 years ago where the governments maybe could have stopped this stuff. But keep in mind, these are decentralized systems and they're anti-fragile, meaning they are very resistant against censorship. They're very resistant against governments. There's not a government, I'll put it this way, there's not a person or an entity in the world that can stop Bitcoin, even if they wanted to. And the reason being is you have to stop all the power and all of the internet at the same time in the world for it to stop. It's impossible. It's like the Pandora's box has been opened, and it's a decentralized system. Each node or miner has a copy of the entire blockchain on itself. So if every other miner in the world goes out and one's left, the Bitcoin network is still functional. It's pretty astounding. It's actually an engineering marvel of what they did. And nobody owns it either. Here's the funny part is Bitcoin was made by a fictitious person called Satoshi Nakamoto that did not want to be known. They made this and gave it to the gift to the world and walked away. That's like like the rabbit hole goes deeper more than just what it is. It's like, you would think, if you were kind of like, didn't know what this stuff is, and you're like, I'm going to make a money system, I can make a whole lot of money and stuff. You would think the person that made that is going to want to benefit from something like this. You would think, if they were kind of like, most normal people. That wasn't the case. They put this out there because they felt like after the 2008 crash that our financial systems needed a better way, and they created something called Bitcoin. So that's really what spawned all this, is just to provide a better way. And it's kind of funny how that person doesn't even want the credit.
Wow.
And it's unbelievable.
Well, okay. So so you said a very key word in all that, which is, okay, so think about my previous question. Okay, so then you said tax. Okay. So if you think about it right now, every dollar that is earned, we pay taxes on it, right? Okay, I'm an entrepreneur, you're an entrepreneur, Dr. JACALYN. Okay, so those dollars are taxed. So say, and pardon my ignorance if I'm asking something that's stupid, but I'll just put it out there. So say I shifted my business and only worked with people that could pay me in Bitcoin. Would I then not owe any taxes?
So
yes.
so you got to understand. So Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are considered property. They're not considered money.
Okay.
So it's like your house. So they're treated the same way. So when I basically buy and sell Bitcoin, I can take and incur short-term and long-term tax implications. If I buy and sell a cryptocurrency and hold it for 1 year, I get a short-term tax on that if I sell it. It's only when you sell it, when you liquidate it. If you hold on to it, you can't be taxed. They're trying to change. They were trying to put a law in there to try to tax you on unrealized gains, but that's retarded. I hate to say it, that's not even acceptable, because it's like you have your house and they reassess your taxes and you're like, okay, now you got to pay all this extra stuff on it, kind of thing. You can't do that with the cryptocurrency thing. It's kind of a weird thing. So there's a big debate on that piece. But right now, the rule of the land is, if you buy this and you make a gain on it and you sell it under 365 days, that's a short-term tax, about 33%, 35% a tax on that. And you will be required to pay that to the government. I have to pay crypto taxes. I've been doing it for years. It's part of the process. If you make money, the government wants a piece. That's the best way to think about it. But on the other side, there is a kind of a little loophole here, because these are considered property. So a lot of times, people, they in the crypto space, if they made a really large gain, and they had a tax implication on it, what they'll do is, when the value of Bitcoin goes down, they're going to sell and buy it back again. What they do is that sell triggers a tax implication. That implication either can be a gain or a loss. If it's a loss, that can be recorded against the gains that you recorded that year. But keep in mind, there's also caveats and basic limits on that as well. If it's under personal, I think it's only like $1,500 you can actually kind of go up to. But if it's business, there's no limit. So all of our cryptocurrency is through the business. It's we pay some employees that are in crypto. We're a fully integrated cryptocurrency company. So there's some tax implications of it, but the governments are still trying to figure out what to do with it, to be honest. And, only America is really the ones pushing hardest against this compared to others, because of our government, really incentivized by the money that we have. But I don't see that lasting. These are fair money systems that are going to make the world a better place. So unfortunately, the U.S. dollar probably has its best days is already in the past. This is what I see globally. And like I said, but also putting all that money, there's inflation to pay. You can't just kind of make something out of thin air. And that's all the government did, is they just printed money out of thin air with nothing backing it. Over time, it's natural systems, if you think about it, are always going to balance out to a medium. And it's just going to, you have more something, that value of it's going to go down. Mm-hmm. That's basically what happened. So, it's kind of a crazy kind of a world we live in right now. We've never seen anything like this with this whole inflation. And it's only going to get worse.
I couldn't agree with you more.
And just if you guys want some good examples, just look at Venezuela and other South American countries. They've gone hyperinflation. Basically, they've gone 30,000x or the wrong direction, where they have $1 million notes that are just, people are waiting. They're worth nothing. They're floating around in the street. Like their dollar or monopoly money basically now.
Right.
And the US dollar could turn into that at some point because of all this.
Right.
So just be careful. If you're going to put a hedge against that, get yourself into hard assets, gold, real estate, even cryptocurrencies and blockchain, anything that's a hedge against the US dollar, because the US dollar, they made some mistakes. And we're really not as strong as we used to be with that. So, that's just my advice. If anybody wants any free advice, please reach out to me on Twitter. I'd love to help. I'm all about educating. I'm a giver, and I love giving back. And I've been using cryptocurrencies to give back to people all over the world. And I love it because I can settle it instantly anywhere. There's nothing else like it. So I don't know. I just like, helping and inspiring people in this space because I believe it's the future. And I believe it's also the right thing to do where, unfortunately in my industry, I don't know how many people are in the tech space, but my industry is really ran by 4 companies, and those 4 companies are more of like kind of monopolies. And, they're stifling innovation. They're all about profit and about themselves, where the blockchain space is exactly opposite. That paradigm shift is the network doesn't have to be incentivized by profit other than this amount it needs to run. So all the profit taking goes away. And the people like that will make the money are the content creators, as opposed to like the YouTubes and stuff. And keep in mind, like, the influencers that are out there that are on YouTube and TikTok, they get about 1 to 5% of the revenue of anything that they do, and everything goes to the big boys. So, but on the blockchain ways of these systems are 95% goes to the content creator, and the 5% will go to the network. There's no person needed to be incentivized by profit. It's a network. It doesn't need to have the old ways of thinking. And that's what I see is these types of companies are either going to move into this space, which they're already starting to do, or they're going to be dinosaurs or obsolete, because I could say the world doesn't want that kind of stuff anymore. And at least in what I see. And I think, honestly, human nature tends to want to drive towards the more natural, fairer things, I believe, I hope, anyway. Right now, it doesn't look so promising in the world. But that's how I kind of think about things. So I might have gone on a beaten path there a little bit, but I hope that's helpful information.
Yes, definitely helpful. I have so many questions to ask you. So
keep going. That's cool.
So as we look at even the industry that we're in here, television has changed, right? It's supposed to network. People want to watch things when they want to watch things. And you just mentioned about the 4 main players in technology industry who are taking the money. Is there some way to incorporate television and cryptocurrency and Bitcoin? So in other words, instead of streaming the ways that we're streaming now, is there some future way coming of streaming information and getting out there that we don't have access to or not aware of today?
Well, I don't think it's actually the streaming technology that's the big deal, because, think about Bitcoin and blockchain and what it can do. It's almost like a validator and a stamp for anything you want to put in. You can take a little box, stuff stored inside of it like an NFT, stamp it, and it's on a blockchain forever, and it's kind of legitimized. So think of it as a system for that. So the broadcast itself will probably still go through normal mediums, but this is what is already available too. Is there's browsers called the Brave browser. The Brave browser is a Chrome kind of version that they made a blockchain version of a browser. What's interesting about the Brave browser is all your ads that are on Google and any other websites you go to are ripped out and replaced with ads that you get paid for with BAT, which is a cryptocurrency called Basic Attention Token. And you actually get paid for watching the ads as opposed to Google does. So I can see where the ads and the revenue streams being really kind of impacted more so than the actual streams themselves. So
fascinating. Thank you. I'm busily writing down what you're saying. Thank you.
Yeah, you can download the Brave browser. I would highly recommend doing it. If you're on the internet anyway and you want to make some cryptocurrency, that's an easy way to do it. You're going to get paid to go to websites, and they're going to replace the ads with stuff that's more relevant, and it's also you get paid for it. I think that's more the model where things are going forward, where the user's more incentivized, and it's easy to do with the cryptocurrency space. It's all automated. Which is pretty neat.
So say that again. So you go to, because if I understood correctly, you go to the Brave browser. And so basically it's like instead of you have like Chrome or Google or Firefox or Edge, there's this another browser called Brave, which really, if you use it, it's going to look just like Chrome. But
what happens is all the ads, it picks up the ads that are coming in and stops them from coming in, and it'll replace them with ads that you're going to get paid for.
And so you just basically sign up.
You just use the internet. You just use the browser. That's it. You don't have to do anything.
No, then how do you sign up to say I want to get paid in crypto?
So inside the browser, it's going to give you a little wallet that you can kind of attach it to. A little cryptocurrency wallet, and then you have your back tokens.
And then I would get paid for watching these ads in Bitcoin.
It'll be basically it'll be a cryptocurrency. It won't be Bitcoin. It'll be based in attention token, and you can always trade these tokens for other tokens. So you can always trade that token to Bitcoin or Ethereum or ADA or any other ones you want. There's tens of thousands of them now. They're publicly traded. You can go on any of them. And what's cool about them when you trade them, it's not like the stock market. The stock market's 9 to 5. Cryptocurrency is 24/7, 365. It never stops. It never sleeps. So you can wake up 3 in the morning if you want to do your trade. You can do whatever you want. What's interesting about this is actually you're seeing a global market as opposed to US or China or Russia market for their individual stock markets. So you see fluctuations on a daily basis, with these. Like you'll see, I can tell when the Asian markets wake up. I can tell when the Europe is going. You see these fluctuations when the US, then Europe, then it goes in Asia. And it's every day. It's like a 3-bump cycle. And you can see when its peaks and valleys are when people get up and they start trading or selling. So if you're a smart trader, you can actually take advantage of those little small cycles. There's so much to look at it and stuff. I mean, you can make money in all different ways in this stuff, but really what this is a really transparent and fair system that is the next evolution of the internet. So everybody uses the internet. This is a really great thing. Anybody has any questions, you can ask away. I'll fire away anything you want to know.
Do you teach a course on this? Do you teach a course on this?
I do. I do quite a decent of public speaking. I don't really have any courses. I guess I could do that at some point, maybe. I probably have too much general knowledge in my head, to be honest. I don't know. I'm like a sponge when it comes to technology. I like this stuff.
I just think it's fascinating. I'm thinking, wait, he's over here and I'm over here. I'm like crawling along. Do you feel the same way, Kathy?
Oh, 100%, because we all know I've made it abundantly clear, technology and it's not my thing. So I'm just like, I'm hanging on listening.
But you still use the internet and you still use all the things so here's what's going to happen. Trust me, McDonald's and Burger King, even Wawa is now doing NFTs. It's here. It's prime time is coming. It's going to be integrated in everything. All the major players are getting involved in it. They see the value in it. It's going to be integrated into your life at some point. So here's the thing is, this is really, the thing I guess put a word of advice out there is security always goes counter to ease of use. And this technology is the highest level of encryption and security known to man. So naturally, that's already going to be difficult for most people to work with. But I do know and understand technology, and there's a thing called Moore's Law, and it was defined by a physicist at Intel in the 70s. And basically, he came up with a sliding scale. It says every 18 months, the computer processing power doubles of what you can do in 18 months. So basically, think of that kind of Moore's Law has been applied to technology through the cycles, and we keep getting better and better and more sophisticated as time goes on. So I have full confidence in that the ease of use problem will be solved, and it'll be much easier. And just like when the internet first started, we were using AOL and we were using all this other stuff and dial-ups, and now look at you're on your phone, it's wireless. It's the same thing's going to happen. Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are only 13 years old. I mean, that's a baby compared to anything else. But here's what it's done in that time. It's already the most valuable asset there is. Actually, I think it's not total yet, but I think Bitcoin itself is already number 9 most valuable asset in the world. This beat out silver, and it's marching up the list. The cryptocurrency markets today is probably about $1 trillion. It's not even in the billions of dollars anymore. It's astounding to see. There's not an asset that if you put the 13 years when Bitcoin was around and you stacked real estate, gold, and all the stocks, and you put them against Bitcoin's still up by 10,000%. It's unbelievable to see. Like, it's literally like, it's like a transfer of wealth. It's not like, this cool little fad. That's what's really fascinating. The more you learn and the more you read about it, the more you're like, wow, the rabbit hole goes deeper. And I just think that this has been something that's been, been wanting to come out for a while. And, it is going to make our governments more fair. Honestly, our governments might run on a thing called a DAO. If you guys haven't heard of that, this is the next kind of big thing in the crypto blockchain space. DAOs are decentralized autonomous organizations. Think about that. What that means is I can create an entire company, a government, or an organization automated on the blockchain. And there's already been a few instances of these that have been a little bit successful. There was a bid to buy the United States Constitution about 5 to 6 months ago. I think it was like $40 million or something. There was a DAO put together called the Constitution DAO, and their job was to raise enough money to buy the Constitution or one of the copies that was up for bid. They were almost successful. Their biggest problem is they were too transparent. They said exactly how much money they made out to the dollar. And one of the CEOs of one of these hedge funds, I think it was BlackRock, outbid them by $1. But the proof of concept was there. So what's interesting is I'm currently working on a DAO with a group of an international team. And our job, actually, what this DAO is to try to purchase and decentralize Twitter. Our goal is to raise about $43 billion. That's substantial. So, but we've already, the project's already just got out the door, and there are already some serious funding behind it. We got like the core Polygon team behind it. I believe there's Super DAO's also involved. Like some of the big players and names are already backing this and behind it, and we're just now getting out the gate. But this would be a really interesting play. I could tell you what could happen here is if this is successful, this is going to show a model of, hey, here's a target, like say Microsoft or Google. Let's crowdsource to buy that company and change it the way we want it to be, as opposed to letting them dictate what they want. And I can see that being a driving force where now you're going to be able to use a hive mentality to go after a target, and it'll be completely automated. That's kind of unique, and it hasn't happened yet in human history where we've been able to kind of build together something digitally like that. It's almost like think of, instead of nation states, these are going to be network states. And that's a big thing coming. There's a whole big thing online about this now. The person who created the Elon DAO or the Decentraland project that I'm talking about, he's a really big person in this space. I got to say, he's really a savant and one of the most intelligent persons I met. Really young guy, and has really ambitious goals. And we joined on to help them with the technology piece. But even if this is a proof of concept and doesn't turn out well, we're not the only one doing this. And this is like there's a whole grassroots thing coming up now where people are so dissatisfied with our governments and their leaderships that they're starting to take action themselves. And now there's platforms that can facilitate this. It's going to start revolutions.
Wow.
That's what, like, the governments have a valid point of being scared because this is the writing on the wall. There's actually systems now that are in place that can topple them. Wow. That's like amazing, right? Like, that's why, like I'm saying, like, this is a profound technology. They really haven't, there is no Google's yet. There is no Facebook's yet in this space. This stuff is just starting to come out, but you can start to see the power of what this can do. It's the whole world now. It's not any geolocated country.
Wow. So to call it a game changer would be like,
it is.
Yeah,
it is. It's really, and that's why I don't think everybody gets all of that. Now that you guys heard that, I think your guys' jaws dropped.
I mean, I
have a question for you. Mm-hmm. So for our audience, and they're watching or they're listening on the radio, they're thinking, you know what, this is really exciting. I've heard of Bitcoin. I've heard of cryptocurrency. I've heard of the blockchain. I want to get involved. I'm going to do some research. What exactly do they go and do?
So the biggest problem with this space is, because obviously it's money, and there's a lot of companies and countries and banks that are incentivized by this not doing well. So unfortunately, there's oodles of propaganda and bad things, and you're going to see, you're going to start Googling up Bitcoin, let's say in Google. The first, going to start finding a mixture of articles of, maybe it's like how to buy Bitcoin, and another one's like, oh, Bitcoin's a fraud, and then Bitcoin's this and that, and then there's a hackness. There's so much noise out there because there's so much propaganda mixed with truth, and it's kind of hard to figure out what is what. I could tell you, if you have any questions, reach out to me first. I'm one of the most transparent and fair persons you can find in this space. Publicly doxed. You can look all about me. I do a lot of this information out, and I try to educate people all the time in this space because it is hard. It's not easy. Not everybody's like me that can pick up technology really easily. And, but I could tell you from my understanding and being in this space for a long time, this is it. This is something that's going to be really great for everything, and it's already starting to show what it can do. And what I think it's going to do is kind of clean up some of the crud we have in our governments, some of the crud we have in companies that are just, all the negativity that people are just looking to take. I think will start going away, or at least some of it will. At least we now have a platform that you can build off of. What I see are platforms. There's many of them. So, everybody's getting involved in, even Walmart. I mean, you got to understand, like, this is not a small thing. Like, supply chain is being impacted by blockchain right now in a good way.
Wow. So I know we're at the end of the show. Just, I'd love to have you back because there's, as I mentioned, probably 15,
wow, sorry. Too much
15 topics. So, for example, if I wanted to invest my money in the stock market, I can work through someone, through brokerage, or I could use, E-Trade or Robinhood or whatever. Is there something that people can do themselves, or do they have to have an advisor? Can I take a certain amount of money and invest it on the blockchain myself? And
you can do it. What's the beauty of that? You don't need anybody. So what's cool about the blockchain network, it's meant to be a secure financial money system from peer to peer, meaning from person to person. I send money to you directly, or vice versa. You don't have to have an intermediary. The thing is, I can advise you. I'm not a financial advisor. I would just say, do your own research. But hey, if you're interested in buying something, here's how to do it. But there are people that specialize in this. There's also companies that can take your investment. I know a few friends that there's companies that'll take your stuff and guarantee, certain percentage month over month on your money in cryptocurrency, and they'll pay you at that. I had friends that made a lot of money that way. I could tell you, if you're going to get into the cryptocurrency space and do any investments, and it's your first time doing it, stay away from all the meme coins, the Doges, the Shiba Inus, because you're not ready for them yet. You have to understand that you want to get the fundamentals, and Bitcoin is the most fundamental. And it's also has the most value, and it's the least amount of risk. Because what happens is Bitcoin might fluctuate. Like, let's give you an example. Bitcoin runs in about a 4-year cycle. It'll hit its all-time high and drop 80%, and then go back up and basically 4x from there. And it just does these big cyclical loops. And the problem is the smaller cap coins, and we call them like shit coins, or part of my French, but basically coins that are probably not at the premium level. But what's interesting about those coins can swing massively. I mean, 10 to 20,000%. So you can make a whole ton of money and can you lose a whole ton of money. But they're super, super high risk, but they are more volatile when the market is moving all over the place like it is now. So the best, least risky ones will be to play with the big boys, is my recommendation, until you really understand what you're doing, because this is real money, and you can lose real money, and you can also make real money. I just don't want to have anybody been in a situation they get ahead of themselves, and they lose a whole lot, and they put themselves in a financial situation. That's the last thing I ever want to hear. So
thank you very much. So helpful and so interesting.
Fascinating.
I could just sit and
I know I'm an encyclopedia of information on that stuff.
You
Sorry.
really are. Yeah, it's fabulous, and you're so passionate about it. Unfortunately, we have to sign up for the next show, but I would love to have you back again.
Sure, absolutely.
And please do. So I'm going to put up your contact information, and if would you please share with our people listening on the radio, or people can't read it, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Honestly, probably one of the easiest ways, maybe on Twitter or LinkedIn. You can reach out to me in either of those platforms. Probably the best way. Also, looks like my contact information was put out here. You can reach out to me, Mac@MacGuyverTech.com. If you'd like to email me, we're always looking for great people. Also, and if you have any questions in this space or blockchain or want to be educated, I'll at least point you in the right direction. We have a great network of businesses. We're only looking to actually do the work that we like doing, which is blockchain and custom software. But there's something in technology that you might need help with. I have thousands of partners and companies that we work with that we can help you with. We just look for great people to work with that we're good at what we do and they're good at what they do. And it's something that we can help with. We always will pass that along and make sure that person's taken care of. So anyway, we're just a little different. We like relationships, we like people, and we like helping.
Thank you so much. Such an exciting topic, and you bring a lot of passion and energy to it. So, because somebody could have been presenting a very dry, methodical, but no, you're really engaging and interesting. So, thank you.
I'm a firecracker. I don't know. So I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yes, thank you so much, Kathy. Anything you want to say before we say goodbye?
Mac, it's fascinating, and thank you so much. And you are. You've got to come back.
Absolutely. I'm more than happy to.
You got to come back because, I mean, I didn't.
There's stuff we didn't talk about. We didn't even talk about NFTs.
I know. So, I mean, there's so much more, and I've been on the edge of my seat this entire time, and but please, but this is great information, and thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And please
come
back on our
business. Thank you.
Please come back on our business show as well, because I think our audience there would really benefit from what you're sharing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and the business side of stuff, I can start, not talking about the Bitcoin. I mean, I've been in business for 10 years. I could tell a lot. I mean, we've grown through, in the last year and a half, we've gone through some massive growth, and, it's a lot to learn. So I'm sure I can probably bring some value in that area.
Absolutely.
So,
I know you can. Definitely.
Cool.
All right. We will look forward to seeing you again.
Yeah, thank you for your time. That was wonderful.
Yeah, thank you, Matt.
Bye for now.
See you. Have a wonderful day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
Kathy, thanks so much for bringing Mac. Wow. Fascinating topic.
Oh, I know, right? I mean, I am so lucky to be connected to Mark, who has connected me to all these great people. And I mean, it's fascinating, isn't it? I mean, I'm still trying to process it. It's I just keep thinking about all the possibilities and when he was just all the things that he was bringing up. So I guess we'll see. He's probably right.
Yes. No, he listen, my nephews, who are obviously much younger than I am, they're all into that. And I have conversations with them and they're like, oh, AJ, you need to start looking at this. So it is fascinating. Kathy, your show is coming up, Talking Heads. So I'm going to spotlight you. And if you can share your contact information, who you'd like to reach out and how they should do that.
Well, thank you. So if anyone is needing assistance with an interior or exterior project, I'm your gal. So please feel free to contact me at 703-895-3798, or you can email me. I'm at kathyfulton1965@gmail.com. Look forward to working with you.
All right. Thank you so much, Kathy. I'll see you over in the other studio.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks for now. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone, whether you are watching or listening on the live or on the replay. We're just so happy to have you. And if you're new to our channel, we are just celebrating 6 months that we have been live streaming. And we started out with 15 shows in January the 10th. And we were on one radio channel. And now we have 28 shows and we have a global audience. We've got 20 co-hosts, 4 expert correspondents, I think 11 talking heads, countless people who have taken the power of listening and become certified as elevated listeners. If you'd like to join our platform, we'd love to have you. There's so many opportunities for you to co-host, to have your own show, to come up with a whole new concept. I'm the founder and president of USA Global TV and Radio, and I am open. My goal is not for me to be on every single show. It's to have you from all over the world have your own shows sharing your journey, your information. So please do reach out. talk, over to usaglobaltv.com. You can go to book your session. You can go to contact us. We'd also love to have you on our email list. We just sent out our first newsletter. If you are on our list, please check your spam folder for an email from Dr. JACALYN at usaglobaltv.com. And if you're not, please also go over to our website and sign up. Okay, we're coming right back with our next show, which is Talking Heads, and our expert is Kathy Fulton. See you soon.